Now most people eventually come across the problem with fan systems being too loud with their consoles. I've had it with my Xbox One and now I have it with my PS4. The goddamn thing sounds like a jet just about to take off. So what I've decided to do is buy an external fan to see how well it reduces noise. After a bit of looking around, I decided to get this super cooling fan made by Dobe. It seems ideal as it claims to reduce heat and noise, it's simple to attach and there's mostly positive reviews for it. When it arrived the next day, I decided that what I was going to do was attach it without cleaning the PS4 fan system. I decided to do this for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I think most people that buy these fans don't bother cleaning the internal one. If they did, they would find that their PS4 would be significantly quieter afterwards, which would mean there would be no need for them to buy an external one. The other reason for not cleaning the internal fan was to see what difference the external one made on an already loud system. As one of the key selling points of this product is to reduce noise, I thought that I would put it to the test. On opening the box, you'll find the fan system itself and a USB plug. One side plugs into the fan and the USB side goes into the PS4. Once you have done that, all you need to do is unplug the power supply and the HDMI from the PS4 and attach the fan unit. Then you have to plug the power supply and HDMI back in again. Now, one very important thing that none of the photos of this product show is that the cable has to be plugged into the front right side of the PS4 and the other end of the cable goes to the back left side of the console. What this leaves you is a cable running from front to back from opposite sides, which doesn't look good. You can either have it running down the side or going over the top, which can obstruct the disc tray. I think it's obvious as to why the manufacturer hasn't included pictures of the fan system actually plugged into the PS4, because it looks bloody ugly and no one would buy it. The fan itself is a chunk of plastic which doesn't sit flush to the back of the system, so presentation of this external fan is not good. But the installation is very easy, so it gets a point for that. After setting it up, the instructions say to turn the fan on by the switch on the side. The next instruction is to press the turbo button. This will make the turbo bounce and speed down. From reading this instruction, I assumed that the turbo would already be on, as turning it off surely would reduce speed. However, when I looked, the turbo was off, so I was a bit miffed as to how switching the turbo on would slow the fan down. Why couldn't the instructions simply say turn the turbo on or off? I don't know, but I did as I was told. So the turbo was on when I started it. Obviously the fan didn't speed down at all. Here is how the PS4 originally sounded before I put the fan on. I'm just idling in the home screen at the moment. And here is what it sounds like with the fan on. And this is what it sounds like with the turbo on. You can clearly hear from the recordings that the fan increases noise quite substantially. The next instruction was to switch the fan to automatic, so I did that and left it for about 10 minutes. Then I turned off the turbo. So far, all this fan has done is made my PS4 look unsightly and made more noise. Before I got this fan, I did question how it would make the system quieter, because how can noise be reduced by adding more of the very thing that makes noise to begin with? Surprisingly enough, it has failed to reduce noise, it has only added more. So for that reason, I'll be sending it straight back. But before I do, I'm going to test the last claim that the manufacturer makes about it, that it reduces heat. Yeah, by adding more fans, the system shouldn't get as hot as quickly, which prevents the internal fan from boosting its speed. Now, I know Plants vs Zombies 2 always makes my internal fan do this. Here's what that sounds like. Now let's see if the external fan can prevent the internal one from going into overdrive. No it can't. I have the fan on the auto setting, but the external fan never turns off, which proves that it is not cooling the system down enough. If it was, then the internal fan would slow down and the external one would stop running. This is what I expected it to do, with it later coming back on when the system got too hot again. Instead, what's happening, the internal fan is just running at max speed as usual with the external one on as well. After running it for some time, I concluded that it just simply couldn't cool down the system enough. So I decided to put the turbo on, thinking that would solve the problem. No, it doesn't. After running the turbo for 20 minutes and turning it off again, I found that the fan is still running, which again proves this fan cannot cool the system down enough to prevent the internal fan from running at max speed. If it could, then it would automatically turn off. As far as I'm concerned, this fan does nothing that it claims to do. It doesn't reduce noise and it doesn't reduce heat significantly enough to prevent the internal fan from speeding up, which is when the PS4 will be at its loudest. For me, this is just a noisy bit of plastic that takes up a USB port. I think this product takes advantage of lazy people, because by far the best solution to reduce noise is to buy a couple of screwdrivers, unscrew a few screws, get a damp cloth and clean all of the dust out the system. Now this fan may help reduce the amount of dust which can accumulate inside the system, but it's not a good trade-off for the constant extra noise it makes. Even if it does reduce the amount of dust, all it is going to do is delay the inevitable, as the dust will eventually get to a level where you're going to have to clean it out anyway. Again, the best solution is to just clean it once a month or so. That's a sure way of solving the noise problem.